Okay, I have started the recording, and my name is Yichen Zhang, and my group partner is Zahra. So this recording is for the IRB course for the IAD mock hearing. Okay, so for the first part, I will play as RCIC, and Zahra will play as a client. So we will start the first part now. When did you become a permanent resident of Canada?
I became a permanent resident on October 2013.
When and okay.
Yeah.
When and why did you leave Canada?
I just left Canada in 2015, March 2015.
Why did you leave Canada?
On March 2015, my sister went to Brazil to visit my grandmother. And then he found that my grandmother's illness is serious, and I had to go back to Brazil because my daughter also at that time lived with my grandmother. So I had to go to take care of my grandmother and my daughter both.
Really sorry to hear that, but what happened to your parents?
Actually, I raised up with my grandmother because I lost very soon my parents. So my grandmother kind of was my mother and father and grandmother, everything that I had. He was the only like close family that I grew up with.
I see. So have you ever left Canada from 2013 to 2015 before your grandmother became sick?
No, not at all, because I didn't have to leave Canada. Actually, I had a job and I had a very good job, so I didn't have any plan to leave Canada at that time because my life started to establish in Canada.
So when did you notice your grandmother's situation and when you left Canada?
I found it in March 2015, and I just left right away. I just got in the plane, and I asked for 3 months leaves from my job, and they accepted because they understand my situation. And I left in exactly 2000, March 2015.
So did you quit your job the first time you learned about your grandmother's illness?
No, not at all. Actually, I just requested the time. Again, I requested when she didn't get better. So I again requested for another 3 months until September, and they hopefully they at that time they.
So okay, sorry, I just got lost on the internet. I'm back. Okay, did you buy a return ticket when you left Canada in 2015?
Yes, exactly. It was my return ticket was also June 2015 because my time off from work was just for 3 months, from March to June, and I had that ticket on my document as well.
Do you remember how long you requested time off from your work? Was it paid leave?
I requested for 3 months at first, and then another 3 months. For the third times when I requested, they didn't accept it. So I requested from September to December 2015, but for the third time, they didn't accept my request. And unfortunately, I lost my job at that time on September 2015.
So when was the last time you filed your tax?
I filed on 2015. Actually, I filed my taxes for 2015 as well.
When you were in Brazil, did you use any your savings account in Canada?
Yes, actually, there is a document that I give it to you and to show that during the time that I was in Brazil, I just used my saving account to buy food for the daily shopping. Actually, I use the money for daily life.
So could you find any permanent job from the June 2015 to 2019?
No. I because the first I didn't intended to stay in Brazil. This is the reason. Another one was I had to take care of my grandmother and also my child, so there wasn't any opportunity for me to do both, uh, getting job, and there wasn't job over there. It's a Brazil situation is completely different than Canada, so you cannot find easily a job.
Yes. When did you file a sponsorship application for the daughter?
After first year that I came to Canada, I was established. So I decided to now this is the time to sponsor my child in 2014. So I sponsored her in 2014.
So why didn't you leave Brazil right after your grandmother passed away?
So after my daughter got the co-PR on 2016, but unfortunately, due to my grandmother's situation, she couldn't come to Canada and get the permanent residency. So she doesn't have any status in Canada to come with me. This is one of the reasons, and another one was so my grandmother had something, and we had some like properties and those things to just keep all the thing. Lots of when you lost someone, you have a lots of things to do after that, because
Totally.
I was the only person in Brazil.
Totally understand. So can you briefly describe the relationship between you and your grandmother?
So as I told you, I lost my parents early when I was so young. So my grandmother kind of was my everything. So she just was like my mother, really close to her. And also because I lost my wife in 2012, uh, she take care of my child as well. So kind of she was like my mother and my daughter's mother, both of us.
So do you have any siblings?
I have, yes, I have a sibling, but none of them living in Brazil. So they have a
Okay. So how many siblings do you have?
I have two siblings.
Do you know where are they?
And they are not living in Brazil, actually.
So were they able to take care of the grandmother?
No, they are not, because they had a life and a child also in other countries, so they couldn't able to stay. And my grandmother did a lot for me, so I should do something for her. It was my responsibility.
So what did you do between the time when you lost your grandmother and you tried to apply for the PRTD?
Uh, I try to see if I can come back to Canada, and I found that there is a problem. So I applied for a travel document to come back to Canada. Unfortunately, it didn't accept it. Yeah.
So have you ever owned any property in Canada?
Yes, for the first for 2 years that I was in Canada, and from March 2015 to sorry 2000 from October 2013 to March 2015, I worked and my job was so good. I even find a relationship over there, and I got a girlfriend, and we like live together, and we bought a house in Toronto.
Okay, so what happened to that relationship?
Uh, because the long distance relationship didn't work for my girlfriend, so she decided to broke up with me, and uh, after that, so we bought that house together. So she wants to sell the house. We had to sell this house on 2019. Also, I needed money for my living because I didn't have any job in Brazil.
So do you have any other relatives in Canada?
No, I don't.
Okay, do you have any friends in Canada?
Yes, during the time that I was here, because I work in a company, in an IT company, I could find a very good friendship with my coworker. Also, um, still while my friend broke up, but still we are friends. She's close friends to me as well, and I have a few friends over there.
So do you have any like the personal belongings in Canada?
Not right now, but I know if I mm, could able to come back to Canada, it's easy for me to get a job and start a new life again.
Why do you want to come back to Canada?
Uh, I lost my parents, I lost my wife, and I also at the end I lost my grandmother. So I don't want the same life for my child, my only daughter. I want to have a better life in Canada for myself and also my daughter. During the from 2015 to now that I'm in Brazil, I couldn't find a job. I couldn't start a new life for myself. While during the 2 years that I was in Canada, I could have everything: house, girlfriend, a good relationship, and also a good job, paid job. I was a very good citizen over.
So what is your plan for you and your daughter?
My plan, if we come back to Canada, my plan is to get a job, and the company that I used to work, they really at that time they was really happy with my working, and in the letter they mentioned that I was an outstanding employer for them. So I think they willing to have me again. So I have a job already. I think I'm going to have a job over there, and my daughter going to be at a school. We can live together, and we have secure financial and secure life.
Do you think your daughter can adapt to the life in Canada?
Yes, of course, because she had a very hard time in Brazil, and new life, new place can be really helpful for her health and her like emotional. She had a really hard time emotional in Brazil.
So what will you do if the appeal is allowed?
I will come back to Canada right away, actually, as soon as possible.
So what will you do if the appeal is denied?
I don't know actually what I'm supposed to do, because right now I don't have any life in Brazil, no job, no life here, and I'm not. I hope the appeal is going to be approved.
Thank you. That will be all of my questions. Okay, so that is the end of the part one. For part two, Zahra will play as the RCIC to do the submission, and I will play as a client. I will listen carefully and quietly. So Zahra, whenever you're ready, you can proceed.
Thank you. Dear member, base of document and the applicant Philip's tourist answer. This is going to be my submission. Mr. Tourist came to Canada on October 2013 and stayed in Canada until March 2015. During this time, he tried to build his life in Canada. He found full-time job, started relationship with Rosemary, and lived with her for 1 year. He even bought a house. After his life completely established, he started a sponsorship application for his 6 years old daughter, Marcella, who was living with her grandmother at the time sponsorship application process. In March 2015, he informed by his sister about grandmother illness and went back to Brazil to take care of his daughter and grandmother. None of his family was in Brazil to take care of his daughter and grandmother. So he had to go back to the Brazil at that time. In 2016, the sponsorship application was approved by Immigration Canada for her daughter, but due to grandmother's situation, his daughter could not land it in Canada at that time. His grandmother passed away in February 2018. He was not able to move to Canada right away after February 2018 due to situation for her daughter status, because she doesn't have a status in Canada at that time, and also any relative in Brazil to take care of his daughter. Mr. Torres and Marcela had a very hard time in last year. He could not find a job in Brazil from 2015 after he left the Canada. His relationship with her girlfriend ends up in 2016 because he had to stay in Brazil, and long distance relationship didn't work for him. He had to sell his properties in Toronto due to financial situation. His daughter can have better life financially and emotionally in Canada. She lost two beloved members of family, mother and grandmother. Her father couldn't establish in Brazil after he went back while he had a job, house, girlfriend, and a new life in Canada. Actually, hopefully, the company who used to work is willing to offer him a job if he can come back to Canada. From 2013 to 2015, he was a very good citizen, and he filed the taxes. He had a job here during that time. The letter from the employer shows that he was an outstanding employee during the time that he's working in Canada. We all know that he is not meeting the residency obligation under 28 Act, but we know that if we consider the humanitarian and the compassion ground for him, and also take to account best interest of child to make a decision about this appeal, we really appreciate that. I think he can't find a good job and good life in Brazil because he couldn't establish during this time. He doesn't have any family, close family in Brazil, and he living in Canada can make better life for him and also his child. This is all my submission for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zahra. So that will be the end of this mock hearing assignment.